This is Trevor with Tapmaster. Today we're going to be going over the install of our most popular activator, and that is the Euro kick activator, the foot activator. So this unit here, very small, very sleek. What this is going to do is there's two different ways that we can install this. We can either install it right against your toe kick at the back here if you want it a bit more hidden, or we can in fact install it a little bit higher, a little bit farther forward using our mounting plate here. So that's what we're going to do today, just to show you how to install your Euro in whatever way suits you. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to tape off onto our cabinet here so we can see where we want to mark our holes. So roughly centered. Grab my pen. So our showcase cabinet here, you're dealing with a 30-inch cabinet, roughly 30 and a quarter. So about 15 and an eighth is our center mark here. Now we're going for center just so our unit sits right below the doors. If for some reason you need this to the side somewhere else, this works any way you want it, but typically people want these centered. So for our plates here, we've got 3 screws, so this will sit behind your door and your Euro will sit below the level of your door. Or same thing, your Euro can mount directly to your toe kick. In this instance, our toe kick right now has a hole drilled. We'd previously installed our kick plate. So you could fish your line through this way. We'll put a link for that one somewhere else. So you can fish your line, run your wiring, connect to your Tapmaster system. Today we're going to be doing the easy install. If for some reason you can't fish a line, we can still hide that Tapmaster line into the cabinet, kind of put things off to the side, make it a bit easier. So start with our toe kick, or kick plate here. So centered on the cabinet, we want this plate to sit flush to the inside of the cabinet. So I've got my center mark here. So 1, 2, and 3. So I've got my 3 holes marked, so we can drill those out. Perfect. So now that those are done, I can take the tape off. Mount our plate. Of course, we've got mounting hardware that comes with every Tapmaster. So we've got all 3 screws mounted all the way in, nice and snug. We don't want that to move. And then as you can see, it just sits down just below the level of the doors, which should work for the kick. All right, now before we can mount the Euro to the plate, we're gonna have to open it. So included is a Allen key. So that's going to undo the underside here of the Euro. There's 2 small slug screws that hold the front cap to the body. Don't lose these, they're very small. So now that we've got the front cap loose, we can take it apart here so you can see kind of the inner workings of the Euro. And on the sides here, we've got 2 screw holes. So if this were to be mounted to the kick, this is where your 2 screws would go right into your kick. In this case, we've got 2 mounting holes here on the bracket, and that's going to go with the hardware to hold this just to the bracket instead of to your toe kick. So the first thing you want to do is you want to fish this through. So either fishing this through the kick, through a hole in the kick, or in this case, because we're going to mount it through the cabinet, we're just going to put this through our mounting bracket for now and push this to the side. Now your Euro might come apart here, not a big issue. Just if you need to, if you remember, on the bottom here is a small brass button that needs to be pointing down, and your locking cam here has a little post that it sits on. So as long as those all sit together, you can just put this back together, no problem. All right, so we fish our cord through. For a moment, this can just hang. We've got in our bag of hardware here, there are a set of screws that come with nuts and a lock washer. Those are what we're going to want to put through on the back side. So with your screws going through, you can just finger tighten these for now. It can be a bit challenging. Once you get it started, it should be a bit easier. You may need a screwdriver to hold the screw in place, just to tighten the nut down. All right, so now that we've got both of our screws in, we can pop the activator back in. Nice and firm, shouldn't be too much of an issue. Should be able to sit there. Then you're going to put your cap back on, making sure that Tapmaster is facing up. That's going to make sure that your locks for the slug screws are in the correct position. So pop that face back on. Then, this is maybe the most tricky part. So you're going to have to put the slug screws back in. So you're going to have to kind of feel down the bottom here just to get those started, and then they should go in fairly easy. Now that we have the Euro mounted to the plate, you can see here, clears your cabinet doors. It'll sit just in front, makes it a little bit more prominent so you know that you have a Tapmaster, so that your guests know that you have a Tapmaster. So now that that's in there, since we are not going to be fishing it through the kick here, we're going to be putting it through the cabinet. The first thing you want to do to make things easy on yourself, just measure how deep your kick is. So we're just over 2.5 inches. So I just want to make sure that I don't put this hole too far back into the cabinet, just so that I can reach it. So if I aim for about 2 inches, and I leave a space there for the drill bit to go through. Okay, so now that we have our hole, we can just feed our Tapmaster lines through the hole, up into the cabinet, hiding the lines underneath your kick space here. We do have our clip system here, so if you want to run these along the bottom corner, or if there's anything you need to avoid in your cabinet, you can hold them in place with their clips. So typically we're going to run this all the way behind everything, behind your plumbing, keep everything discreet. and then we can connect back to our Tapmaster blocks to act as our activator. So with the Euro kick here is we have a urethane probe. So this is the item that this is what your foot is going to be interacting with to activate your Tapmaster. So these come oversized. So in most cases, you're going to have to cut these down. This is so that they can fit with a wide range of cabinets. So as we can see here, if I were to put this right on the floor, it's just a little too tall. It just hits my Tapmaster. And we have the activator here with the barbs. This is what your probe is going to mount to. So if I take my pen, just underneath it. So with a pen, I can go in and I can see that my probe is just a little bit too high. I probably want this to sit off the floor about 1/8 of an inch, just something so that it doesn't scrape your floor. It won't damage your floor, but just so it doesn't provide resistance. I can follow the barbs underneath and just put a slight mark onto the probe. And then with that, either using a pair of side cutters or a utility knife, you want to cut this as flat as possible, right on your mark. Cut that across. Now my probe should be to length, so I should be able to fit this underneath, kind of bend it into space. It's got some give, and then I'm going to push up until I've reached the very top of my barbs. And now my probe is sitting just off the floor, which will allow me to turn my Tapmaster. So now that we have the Tapmaster mounted, we can go into the cabinet to attach to our block bodies. So similar to our other products, we've got our 3 locks here. Run our Tapmaster cords behind, and in this instance we're going to want to match up, so we're going to go yellow, blue, green. The first thing you want to do is put on your little hose lock, get your hose pushed on. Sometimes these can be tricky if there's a bit of water, so using pliers, you can help move the hose. If I can. There we go. So get your hoses pushed on. The big one is you don't want to wiggle these too much. These hose barbs can be fragile, so you don't want to put too much pressure on them. Then you can slide your lock on. And if it doesn't completely go by hand, you can take a set of pliers and just gently help push it along. And then we're going to do that 2 more times in the correct order. Perfect. Now we have our Euro hooked up. We can turn our water back on and we can test it. All right, so now that we've got our Euro kick installed, we can see now with the mounting plate that it is just proud of our doors. Makes it a little bit easier to see, a little bit easier to use for some people. So with the Euro, you can essentially tap it in any direction to activate your faucet. Or if you choose to, say you have a big pot or you've got something large that needs to be filled, this also does have a lock-on feature. So with that, that is our Euro kick installed.